Let us start now and see in case of this lease financing, there are many issues which are related with related with taking decisions. And as you know that there are many parties to this leasing business also. One is the equipment or machinery supplier, other one is the financer, other one is the owner, the other one is the user. So the owner generally we say that okay, he is the lessor who is putting the asset for use by some other party. So one who is going to use it, he is the lessee, and one who has put his asset on lease, he is the lessor. So the main issues in this case will be that what alternatives are available with the lessee, what alternatives are available with the lessor. Leasing is one business. So for the lessor, it is the business where he is going to acquire asset and he is going to put that asset for use by some other party. If you are going to see this, then in this case, from the lessor point of view, the asset has been purchased for the purpose of leasing. So what will he do? He will have to earn some amount of profit out of this leasing business. Otherwise, why will be he in the business? So he is in the business of leasing. Naturally, he will be earning or he will be interested in earning some profit out of this business. So where from the profit will come? The profit will basically come from the lease rental, whatever he is going to charge from the lessee. So this is one aspect. Now the question is that the lessor, he is going to purchase this asset. It will depend whether he is having his own money or he has taken loan from some business or some financial institution. If suppose he has taken loan, then in that case he will have to pay interest on that. So this interest will be having some amount of cost because the interest is going to be paid. But he will be getting benefit on this interest also, because this interest he will be reducing from the lease rental for the purpose of calculating his profit, which will reduce his earning. So the profit will be understated, the profit will be suppressed by the amount of interest whatever he is paying to the financial institution. As a lessor I am talking. So in this case he will be getting that benefit. The other benefit which he will be receiving is that when the life, the working life or the whatever the position of the life of the asset, after that he will be selling this as a scrap, so he will be getting something out of that. Now see, he will also be having the benefit in case of this leasing business. What will be that if he is going to place this asset in the market and there is some value which he has calculated over the period after charging depreciation. So if he is selling more, if he is selling that asset for more than the book value at the end of the life, then he will be getting profit. That will be called capital gain. So on this capital gain he will have to pay tax. But the reverse of that if suppose he is selling the asset at a price which is lesser or lower than the book value of the asset, then it will be a capital loss. In case of this capital loss, he will be having the tax shield, he will be getting the tax benefit. Why? Because he will not have to pay that much of taxes. So he will be saving tax on that. So this will be the another benefit which he is going to receive. So in case of this leasing business, whenever we are going to consider that okay, the equipment has been placed or the equipment he is receiving, and thereafter if suppose he is getting it financed from some other sources, then we will be considering that okay, how much will be the profit which he is going to charge from it, what is his expected profit which he is going to consider. So these are different things which we have to keep in mind. So this is from the laser point of view, which I have already discussed. I will be coming to this example which is on the screen. And this example, as in the last class, I have already gone through with some steps, but I will be talking about that after some time. See, if suppose it is the lessee, then what alternatives are there with the lessee? Lessee has got two alternatives. Either he is going to purchase the asset because he is not having that much money. So what will he do? He will be taking loan from some financial institution and he will be purchasing. Once he is going to purchase, then he will not have to take this on rental, or he will not have to take this equipment on rent. But when he is going to purchase, what benefits he is going to have? He will be having the benefit of charging depreciation because he is the owner. So the lessee will be owner in that case when he is going to purchase from financing from some institution. So that part is there. He will become the owner, alright. So the second thing is that at the same time he will also have to pay for the interest will be paid. So interest amount whatever he will be paying, then that interest amount that will be reduced from the earning when he is going to charge his profit, and he will also have this benefit of the capital gain or capital loss, whatever is the case. So he will be having the benefit of this capital gain or the tax shield of capital loss, and then after he will have to calculate. So in case of the other alternative with the lessee is that either he is going to buy this asset, getting it financed from some financial institution, versus taking the equipment on lease from some lessor. And then he will have to check that whatever amount the lease rental he is paying to the lessor, and if he is going to purchase the asset, getting finance from some sources, under these two conditions, under which condition he is going to earn profit, that he will have to calculate, and then after he will have to take the decision. Are you getting the point? Say in case of lessee, when he is going to, he is having alternative. Either he is going to take this equipment on lease and he will have to pay lease rental. This lease rental will be treated as an expense because this is the expense which he is going to pay for the use of the asset. So that will be reduced from his earning, whatever earning he is having. So this earning will be suppressed by that. So he will be getting finally the benefit of tax on that earning on that lease rental whatever he is paying. So this will be the benefit which he is going to have. But when he is going to buy this asset, then in that case, if he is getting finance from some financial institution, so what benefit he will be receiving on the interest, because the interest he will have to pay, and this interest charge will be treated as an expense. So he will be getting the benefit of tax on that interest. This will be one. He will be the owner, so he will have to charge depreciation on that. He will be able to save this tax on that asset. He will also have the salvage value, he will also have the book value, so he will be calculating that, and after his adjustment he will be calculating under which condition he is going to have more benefit or he is going to earn more profit, and then he will have to decide. In case of lessee business, whenever we are going to consider that the lessee is going to purchase this asset and then after he is going to, or he should take it on lease. So either getting purchased or leased, this is the two alternatives, and that alternative will have to be decided by the lessee on the basis of the charges whatever he is paying in the form of interest, what is the salvage value he is considering, is expecting, and what is the book value he will have to calculate for the useful life of the asset, and then after he will have to see that okay, what is the position, whether I should go for this leasing or I should go for purchasing. So this is another alternative which the lessee, from the lessee point of view, that will be considered. Here we are going to consider, generally we discuss about the lessor, that if the lessor is going to purchase the equipment and then he is going to place it for the purpose of lease business to some party, how he is going to decide that how much should be the lease rental and how it will be calculated, what considerations are there. The same example I would like to run through it, the cost of the equipment, and it is from the lessor point of view. Break-even lease rental we have calculated. Based on this, we will be calculating for the price, for the profit. So first of all, we are going to calculate this BEI. So that is a break-even lease rental. So this is the cost of the equipment, that is 15 lakhs of rupees. It is expected to have a useful life of 5 years with a salvage value of rupees 1 lakh. See, you have to keep in mind, salvage value is the value which you are going to realize by selling the asset in the market. So therefore that we are using this term salvage value. So at the end of the 5th year, he is considering that he will be selling that asset for 1 lakh of rupees. Alright. The machine constitutes a separate block of asset for depreciation because this is the business of the lessor, and he is supplying different type of equipment, different type of machine. But this machine is falling in that category where the rate of depreciation is 20%. So the depreciation charge is 20%. Now we know about the depreciation. There are many methods. It may be a straight line method. In that case, what will happen? 5 years is the life, 15 lakhs is the price. So 15 lakh divided by 5, 3 lakh every year will be charged. But here it is not the straight line method. It is the written down value method. In case of this straight line method, you will always find that at the end of the 5th year, the value will be 0. Because every year you are going to reduce 3 lakhs. So at the end of the 5th year, the 3 lakh will be the last amount, minus 3 lakh will be the depreciation. So the book value at the end of 5th year will become 0. But in case of this written down value, it will not. It will not be like that. So the rate of depreciation is 20%. So here in this case, we will be calculating depreciation on 15 lakhs of rupees at the rate 20%. This is very simple. We have done in accounting also, and in this class also I have done it. So now the tax rate applicable to lessor is 35%. So whatever is his earning, he will have to pay 35% tax on that. So this is another important aspect, because the tax, we know, in case of finance, we have already discussed this, the tax matters in finance. So we will have to see what is the position of tax. So this is the question goes like this, and then after the question says that, okay, after tax cost of capital is 14%. See here, I have mentioned it 14% after tax. This is the after tax cost of capital. But if suppose he has taken loan, then he will not have to pay after tax, or he will have to pay the interest. So the cost of capital in that case will not be 14%. But the tax rate is 35%. So in that case, the interest will be 20%. So it is the 14% after tax, because we are calculating based on after tax. That's why we have considered this after tax cost of capital. Sometimes if you are finding that it is not mentioned after tax cost of capital, then you will have to consider that the financing has been made at 14% of the tax, the interest rate, which is before tax, because company, you are going to pay company the interest, the tax you are considering for yourself, but the interest whatever you will be paying, that will be something different. Now see, so cutting the story short, after tax cost of capital is 14%. This 14% is important in this case, because whenever we are going to calculate the present value, we will be considering the cost of capital, that is 14%. So the discount rate of your future earning, future payment, that will be at 14% rate. So this is the one important component which we have to consider. What you have to calculate, the first one is your BELR, that is your break-even lease rental for the lessor. Alright. If suppose the company is interested in earning 1 lakh as profit, then in that case, how much should be the lease rental? So how much should be the lease rental if the lessor wants to earn 1 lakh of rupees? Now see, this is a question which is in the background, and we have already discussed the different steps related to that. I have made it in the form of different steps so that the calculation should be made simple and easy. Or you can use your calculator, and there these steps they can be compressed also. But I am not going by this compression part. I am trying to explain step by step, the smaller steps. Maybe in 9 or 10 or 11 steps I will be able to calculate this BELR and others. Now see here, first of all, we will be calculating depreciation. it is 20% written down. So 15 lakhs is the first year value. So 20% of 15 lakh, that is 3 lakhs. So written down value will be at the end of first year 12 lakhs of rupees. Very simple. No doubt about it, I have already discussed. Second year 20% of 12 lakhs, so 2 lakh 40,000. Remaining amount 12 lakh minus 2 lakh 40,000, 9 lakh 60,000. At the end of 50th year, your value of the asset in your book, that is the book value, that is 4,91,520. Alright. And these are the different depreciation in different years. Okay. Now, okay. This is the depreciation. First of all, we are interested in this amount. This is the depreciation which you are charging. By charging depreciation, what is happening to your profit? Your profit is reduced by this amount. In the first year, it will be reduced by 6 because you are charging depreciation. Depreciation is a non-cash expense. And when it is a non-cash expense, you are going to adjust in your book of account. By this adjustment, your profit is going to be reduced. What will happen to your tax? Your tax will be reduced in that case because you have already adjusted, you have already got this minus. So your tax will be, you will be getting the benefit of tax on this 3 lakhs of rupees. Very simple way of understanding and calculation. And you know about it, I am not going to stress any further. Now see here, on depreciation, how much is the tax rate? The tax rate is 35%, okay. So this is the depreciation, 35% you are going to save on this tax. So the 3 lakhs multiplied by 0.35, 35% of 3 lakhs you are going to get in the form of tax. So 3 lakhs multiplied by 0.35 and at 14% rate of discount, 1 rupee value, that is 0.877 for first year. So the present value of first depreciation and the present value, now see the term whatever we are using. Present value of tax benefit on depreciation, that will be equal to 3 lakhs multiplied by 0.35 multiplied by 0.877. This is for first year. So that's why I mentioned it here. Step 2 and 3. The step 2 is here. This will be giving you the figure, which is the figure of tax. And then you are going to calculate the present value of tax. So you are going to multiply by the present value factor, 14% rate. So 0.877 for first year. Second year, your depreciation 2,40,000. 35% is the tax. So this is the tax shield. And the 1 rupee value after 2 years at 14%, 0.789. Similarly, for the third year, for the fourth year, for the fifth year. The total value for the first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year combined, the present value, because we are calculating the present value, so that is coming to 2,56,188. Alright. Now, present value of tax saving on short-term capital loss at the end of 50 years. See, here how can you say that it is a capital loss? Very simple. Check it here. What was the value? The book value was 4,91,000, and how much for you have sold it? You have sold it for 1 lakh of rupees. If you have sold it for more than 491,520, then there was no loss. It was a profit. It was a profit. So in that case, we should have calculated in a different manner because that was the earning. And on this earning, you had to pay tax. So, and the value of that we used to calculate. But here in this case, it is a capital loss, so there is a shield. So what is happening? 4,91,520 minus 1 lakh. This is your tax rate. So this is the tax shield which you are getting. Alright. And in the fifth year, 1 rupee value at 14% discount, that is coming to 0.519. So the value comes to 71,120. So this is another important component which we have to consider. Okay, Lalit ji has come now. Now see here. So what are the benefits you are getting? This is the tax benefit on depreciation, the present value, 2,56,188. This is one. This is the loss which you are sustaining. On this loss, you have saved tax of how much? 71,120. So this is the second calculation which we have made. Now, you have received this money, 1 lakh of rupees, by selling this in the market. So you have sold your asset for 1 lakh of rupees. Now see, don't be confused. Generally you are confused. This is the amount, this calculation we have made for the purpose of calculating tax benefit. So this is the capital loss. So how much is the tax which you are saving due to this loss? And what is the present value of that? We have calculated it. But you have sold the asset for 1 lakh rupees, so you have realized this money. This is for the calculation of loss only, and this is the 35% of that loss which you are saving in the form of tax. This is the present value, it is 71,120. Okay. But you are realizing this 1 lakh of rupees at the end of 5th year. So its value at today, that is only 51,900. It is not 1 lakh. Because you are getting at the end of 5th year, so its present value will not be the same. So the present value of salvage value to be received at the end of the 5th year, this is to be calculated. So this is the further estimate will be fixed. Now, your cost of machine is, now try to understand this part. Your cost of machine is 15 lakhs. Salvage value, you are receiving this money from the market at the end of 5th year. But its present value is 51,900, which you have calculated just now. Now I am going back to that. This is the amount. Alright. Present value of tax shield or depreciation, you have already calculated 2,56,188. 2,56,188. Alright. What is the third benefit you are getting? Less present value of tax saving on short-term capital loss at the end of the 5th year. How much you have calculated? 71,120. So 51,900, 256,188, 71,120. How much you are getting? 3,79,208. What is this? This is the benefit. Try to understand this point, please. Salvage value, it is the sale amount of your asset at the end of 5th year. Alright. So this is the money which you are receiving. Okay. So this will be adjusted for the calculation of your break even, because you have spent only 15 lakhs of rupees. You are getting salvage value 1 lakh of rupees, but its value today, when you have invested this 15 lakhs of rupees, it is not same. That has been reduced by 14% discount. So it has become 51,900. You have got tax benefit on depreciation for 5 years. So this is the tax benefit, the present value of tax benefit, because you are calculating with that, you are going to compare with this present value. So this is 2,56,000. This is the benefit of tax which you have saved. So this is the amount which you are getting in the form of tax saving. Now see, you have got this short-term loss, capital loss is there. So in this case, the capital loss at the end of 5th year is present value at 14%, that is 71,120. So all these three benefits, try to understand, these are all three benefits which you are receiving on your asset. How much is the amount? 3,79,208. So for the purpose of calculating your break-even lease rental, will you be calculating at 15 lakhs of rupees or 15 lakh minus 379,208? Definitely it will be 15 lakhs minus 3, because these are the benefits which you are receiving. So it will have to be adjusted. Now we are going to adjust. What we will do? 15 lakhs minus 3,79,208. Okay, see what is there. 15 lakh minus 370, this is. So this is the amount which you have to realize. required total present value, and this amount you have to realize after tax. This is the point which you have to keep in mind. This is the amount which you are going to realize, or which you will have to realize after tax. Okay. And this is the present value, divided by the present value for 5 years period. So what will happen? The present value 5 years period. This is the annuity amount, because the lease rental is an annuity amount. Try to understand this point. Very simple fine point is here. Lease rental you are going to get every year same. So that is the annuity concept. Alright. So in that case, as we know, we have already discussed at the time of annuity that if you have to calculate how much is the annuity, we are going to consider this discount rate. So 14% discount rate at 5 years period, that is for 5 years annuity, that is 3.433. This is after tax. So for the purpose of calculating its value today, we are going to divide it. See, in case of value for tomorrow, we are going to consider by multiplication. So here we are going to divide by 3.433. After tax lease rental, that will be 3,26,476. So the break-even lease rental, that will become, because this is after tax, but we will be charging lease rental before tax, because we have to charge from the lessee. So what we are going to do? We will be dividing this amount, this is 26, this is 26, 476, this 6 is not coming correctly. So 3,26,476 divided by 1 minus 0.35, that is 65%. We are going to divide by 0.65. This is all right, because 65%, this is that will be considered, because 35% is your tax rate. So you will be getting for break-even lease rental, it is 5,02,271 rupees. This is your break-even lease rental. Okay. So this is the first component, first part which we have finished now. Now I am coming to the other important point. Lease rental to be charged to earn a profit of 1 lakh rupees. So 11,20,792. Try to check it here. Required present value after tax. So 11,20,792. Okay, this is the amount which we have to realize. So what we have to do? We are going, because we are interested in the 1 lakh rupees as profit. So this 1 lakh will be added. So 12,20,792. Same calculation we will have to make 14%, 3.343, 355, 605. The lease rental to be charged for earning profit, we are going to 355, 605 divided by 65%. So this will become 5,47,085 rupees. When you are not charging profit, it is 5,02,071 to 271. When you are going to charge profit of 1 lakh during this 5 years period, you should charge lease rental 5,47,085. So these are the calculations which are related to the lease rental. Generally, we consider the lease rental as a part of from the side of the lessor. So this is an important component which we generally consider. I think this is sufficient for you to understand and calculate. You can, if suppose, see here, if suppose in this question, your salvage value is 2 lakhs of rupees. If suppose your salvage value is 2 lakhs of rupees, then what will happen? Your lease rental, that will reduce or it will increase? It will reduce. Why it will reduce? Because this 2 lakhs of rupees in place of this 1 lakh, your capital loss, that will be reduced. And the amount 2 lakhs of rupees, its present value, that will be naturally more than for whatever you are getting for 1 lakh of rupees. So here one benefit you are going to get, but at the same time your capital loss is going to reduce. So your tax incidence, that will also reduce, its present value. If suppose it is 3 lakhs of rupees, even in that case it will be capital loss. Even in that case it will be capital. If it is 4 lakhs of rupees, even in that case there will be capital loss. Why? Why I am saying? Because your book value is 4,91,520. If you are having this salvage value is 5 lakhs of rupees, then in that case you will be getting the benefit of it will not be capital loss, but it will be a capital gain. So on this capital gain, whatever is the difference, on that capital gain you will have to pay taxes. So in that case, how much tax you are going to pay, that will be treated, that will be considered in that case. So this after tax rate that you have to take care, what is the rate of this tax rate, what is the rate at which the interest is being paid, or what is whether it is after tax or it is before tax. If it is after tax and before tax is to be calculated, you have to check the tax rate. So these are the finer points which are related with your break-even lease rental and the profit to be charged when you are going to place your asset on lease. This is the part of your last unit, and from tomorrow, as I have already mentioned, Professor Javed Akhtar will be taking the remaining classes, and he will be finishing the remaining part of this course. There are certain things which I would like to tell you at this stage, because this unit is also talking about the contemporary issues, in finance. So these contemporary issues, they are changing time to time. Why? Because there are new things they are coming, and accordingly the new issues they are going to enter into it. For example, recently we have seen that in 2013 the Companies Act that has been modified, that has been amended on a larger scale, you can say, because the amendment in the Companies Act that is continuing from 1956, when the Companies Act, the Indian Companies Act that was formed after independence. So 1956 is a landmark for the Companies Act. Then after this liberalization, we could find that the institution which was called Controller of Capital Issues, CCI, that has been converted into SEBI. So the Act was passed, Security and Exchange Board of India Act, that was passed, and SEBI, that was the one institution that was developed. So major changes they have taken place at that time. Now we are finding, because due to this international sometimes pressure or sometimes the requirement, we find that something new they are going to be added. Not only this, there are certain factors which are also responsible for incorporating different things in the subject which we have to take care. And they are the theoretical side, so that's why we are not going to discuss in detail. The most important component which we consider is the corporate social responsibility. This is the contemporary issue which we are finding. Another important thing is that because in case of this corporate social responsibility, there are provisions. So if your company is having more than this much, they are changing also time to time. So if you have got this much of turnover, this much of profit, then this 2% of your turnover profit you will have to pay, or you will have to spend on this corporate social responsibility. And there are different sections which have been made that you will have to pay for these different items. So this is one area which we are finding that which has emerged during this period. The other important area is related with your corporate governance. So this corporate governance part is also, the theoretical side is there, you have to read it in your own. In case of corporate governance also. Now see, now we are finding that the gender equality is very important component. So earlier in case of board of directors, if there is no female member, it was all right. There were no one was claiming that why they are not. But now the Act says that okay, you will have to have the female member on the board of directors. And then in that case, what changes are taking place, how many meetings are going to be there, what type of decisions are going to be taken. So the corporate governance is another important area, and the requirements related to that. So, and you will find in these requirements in this Companies Act of 2013. So, these are the two important things which we are finding, that no doubt they were there in the name of social responsibility of business. Earlier we used to call it like this. Now we are calling it the CSR. So, corporate social responsibility. So, there is social responsibility, that part was there, and it was the company used to get benefit of this, and they were contributing in a big manner whenever the requirements had been there. Now we are finding during this COVID period, the companies, they have contributed a lot to the government of India, maybe in the Prime Minister Fund or in some other researchers which have gone into this development of vaccination and the requirements of the different hospitals and all. So that part is there. That is a part of social responsibility of the corporation, which we see. Now we are finding the third one, and we are having a very specialized course on that, and that is the behavioral finance. Because this area, earlier we used to say, now we are also saying, not earlier, every time we say that a human being is a rational human being. So our economics theory that is based on this. In economics, this we are considering that this is given, this is accepted, and so we are not talking about that. But when we start discussion on in economics, the first thing which the economics teacher, he is going to discuss with you, that the man is a rational being, a human being is a rational being, and he is going to calculate the profit, loss and all that, and then he is going to take a decision. But now we are finding, in case of this stock market business, no doubt rationality is one. We are finding that, okay, the prices are going on, prices are coming down, and today, in the morning, the price of some share was like this, in the evening, the price is like this. And there are people who are going to consider not only on the basis of the profit, working, and the condition of economy, but they are going to decide on the basis of their own, and whether they are the risk takers, they are the risk averter, to what extent they are going to take this risk. So now they are talking in terms of the behavioral finance area, that the behavior is more important than the rationality side. So these are the contemporary issues which are there, and many more issues they have done. For example, just 10 years or 15 years before, when the liberalization that started, the large companies, the big companies, they were operating in the market, and some of them, they were competing with each other for so many years, and a time had come when these companies, the competitors, the arch rivals, the cutthroat competition, which they have been there in the market, and they joined hands. So this aspect of merger, acquisition, takeover, because the pricing of the share, that becomes important. And the glaring example which we are finding is that the Hindustan Lever Limited, at that time it was HLL. So Hindustan Lever Limited, it's not the Hindustan Unilever. So HLL and Tomco, Tata Oil Mills Company Limited, which was having 4 plants. Main plant was in Bombay, and Hindustan Lever was supplying rail and surf, and Tata Tomco that was supplying debt. From the detergent, they have named their cake debt. So these are the brands in the market. They join hands together to the merger and acquisition part. Then what should be the price? Now you are finding that there are many companies which have merged together, and during that period we are also finding, and that started from 80s itself. So some mergers they have taken place offshore. So they merge in England sometime, or they merge in some other country. Take for example, Pond's was a very popular company which was manufacturing this cosmetics, personal care products. They merged with this Unilever. They merged at the international level. Now see, Godrej company. So the product of the Godrej company, that they joined hands with the Procter and Gamble. So they were the arch rivals, but they have combined together. So this merger and acquisition, that is also another important, because at what price of share you are going to change from one company to the other company, depending upon that. So one time we used to discuss this, the merger and acquisition, as a part of finance, that okay, what is happening and how it is going to. But that has become an old story, no doubt. That is still a part of finance. We are not discussing at this stage, but that will be discussed in the you can say specialized courses. Behavioral finance we are finding, so this is another important area which you get. Corporate social responsibility, corporate governance, these are the issues. So you have to study at your own. Thank you very much for attending the classes. I can say we will be going for sessional, we will be going for your examination, and today is my last class with you in finance. We will be meeting in the sales management class in the next semester, inshallah. Thank you very much.